Hello guys, out of 1,000 subscribers I'll be giving away this NRG Hollow sticker from the Austin 2025 Major. So be sure to like, comment and subscribe to be in for a chance to winning this sticker. All subscribers are welcome, thank you very much. Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be looking at the CS case market today, roundup of September, and see how things have gone. Observedly, I've been able to see a large retracement in the price of cases, whether it be just active drop cases, other cases such as more rare drops. I've seen generally a large retracement, even with the gallery case, even though it's going to become discontinued or become a rare drop, uncertain on what it is. A lot of case prices have generally decreased over the span of the past month or the past 2 weeks after the initial boom. So from here we can see, looking at the Huntsman, that's still quite stagnant, but you can see it generally did decrease. Looking at some of the other rare cases, such as one of the more expensive glove cases. I believe this used to be fairly expensive for like what, £13. And we have seen a gradual decrease in the amount of the price. Thankfully I've got this plugin which shows me the liquidity too. Over the span we can see gradually gone down to its initial peak from 711 to about 14, 13, back down to around 10. That generally happens with a lot of trends or little hypes when cases start fluctuating, everyone starts joining the bandwagon. Also, I believe some impact by the 7-day trading ban. People they purchase it up, and they can't trade for 7 days, reduces or limits the supply available to be resold back onto the market. Some people hold longer than 7 days, most understandably, because it's a long-term investment. But with the 7-day trade ban, this has probably influenced the price a little, because if they're not buying from the market, they could be trading it, still get a 7-day ban, so they're not initially able to sell it straight off the bat. So this poses loads of potential risk, well, potential investment opportunities for everyone. This is not financial advice, but for me personally, I am looking at this in the sense that, oh, these are retracting back to a new kind of support line where I would assume that the price will stay stagnant and fluctuate between. So with the glove case here, I'm looking at £10.30 is probably the new support line. £11 was previous. They did break it, but I'm looking around the £10 mark to purchase any of these, maybe around the £9. And that just mitigates a lot of the initial hype train that a lot of people jumped on. Well, not the hype train, but people purchasing at higher prices when they see green and not understanding what to do when they see red. But for me, with generally over the span of some of these cases, we can see 37p went for the recoil, back down to 30p, and looks fairly good. The recoil case is actually one of my favorites due to its price. Its entry point is so low in comparable to all the other cases, and with things with the Digital Fairness Act and the EU kind of opposing against loot boxes and deeming it gambling, understandably so, I agree. Um, some of, if not a big portion, well, I say a big portion, a portion of the market will no longer be able to supposedly receive or open these cases. This limits the amount available in supply-wise and demand. So the impact of this is still a bit all in the air. And Valve may transition into new products in which doesn't include, just like the terminal case, doesn't include the gambling aspect of opening cases. But for other markets like America, the land of the free, the the capitalist market, you know. I doubt they will intervene. And this is still one significant large portion of the market, especially the Chinese market as well. Though they are finding ways to get around control, but that's a whole different matter. Um, the recall case is still actively dropped. It's it's a, for me, I deem it a strong case. Fairly low pricing. The amount of being opened is quite significant. Um, price increases haven't been crazy at the moment, though. Looking at this, you can see the previous. This is in dollars, so 56 back down to about 44. To go back to its previous peak, it'd be about 20%. Not bad, and it's still actively dropped. Only 2 years later than the fracture case. So chronologically, I'm seeing it as Valve put those that have been in the pool longest. So I would see maybe the Revolution or Recoil case to come out of the active dropping pool next. I believe it's the Revolution case, but the Recoil is quite shortly after. And its unboxing numbers are quite significant. They're being unboxed at a percentage of 9 to 10% um, every month. That will impede on the available supply once it does go into the rare drop pool. Could be, so let's say, because the fracture case was released in 2000, yeah, right, 2020. So this is only 2 years after. Um, so I'm assuming maybe around 2027 to late 2026, this may be removed. And the unboxing numbers are promising. With the amount of supply after, I am considering this to be a potential with loads of room to grow, loads of potential margin, incomparable to the ones that have already made their mark on the territory. It does consist of some good skins, so definitely worthwhile looking into, and it has been up 120% in the past year. So it has seen some good growth. Even in the past 6 months, it's seen 60% incomparable to other cases. This is being recently put into the rare drop. Into the rare drop, as you can see, this is growing. You know what? Not far off the fracture case price. So that is not a bad shout. The recall case looking quite strong. Next on, moving on to the Revolution case. Revolution case is up there with my recall case, just for the entry point, cheapness. And with cases, generally, I would say look into the long term. Long term would definitely benefit you more than trying to do some short term investments like you go September 17th buy for 40p. Next time you'll be able to trade is 24th. You might be able to sell for 45, 46, but the risk after, because then these people may be coming off the trade and it goes back to 39. So it's slightly volatile, but yeah. The Revolution case is up there as one of the best. For me as an investment, looking at it still relatively low, good entry point. I'm having to think about what skins is possible. I believe this does glove skins. Always a good alternative, cheaper alternative to buying the more expensive ones. And you can, in essence, open more than the expensive ones. So, trade off. Do you want to buy an expensive case, or do you want to buy multiple cheap ones and open them or store them? So it's up to you. Depends on your risk appetite. I would also always suggest diversifying, so buying a selection of them. But hey, not financial advice. Do your thing. Unboxing numbers for these also like quite significant and comparable to the market. So we're seeing on average between, let's say, 10 to 16% from February this year. If we do it from this year, on average, more than 10% of cases being opened. This will influence the price in the grand scheme of things, but as you can probably tell, this has probably influenced the price already. Over the year, it's gone up by 43%. You can see the unboxing numbers opened, now nearly 1 million. Actively dropping. I'm not phased by that. I think like once news initially comes out about cases going from active to rare drops, that's where you see the largest price margins. And if you're not on the board before that, you've probably missed it. and you'll have to deal with a retracement and then find another entry point. But for me, active dropping, this is not bad, not far off from when hopefully it should expire from the active drop pool. But yeah, not a bad case. So that's the Revolution case. Moving on to the more recent uh, case removed from the active drop ball is the fracture. So this is what I'm referring to when I talk about the retractment. As you can see, this actually had pretty good price increases in 2023. It was actually probably larger than what it was in since it's been removed. Yeah, actually peaked higher. Looking at this is the announcement came out, and boom, people jumped on board, people were trying to stocks, goes up to 80p, bam, 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 and then slow decline. Because now this is a retractment. People probably initially had this case or things like this, and they're like, oh, yeah, let me make some buck. Sell it off, sell it off, sell it off. And now looking at it, at a 47p mark for a rare drop case, I can see it gradually, it won't go back down to its initial price. And so I would say the price in which to enter, or around this price, like 45p mark or 48p mark, great entry point. The amount of these being opened every week, 651,000, 3 million a year, 3 million a month. Oh yeah, it's gone up by 82%. Let me just look at this previous one. So we can see in the span of 2020 to 2023, the price increase. But gonna look at when exactly. March. Let's look at March date, 2023. The unboxing numbers were still significant. Still 9%. Still pretty significant. It was 10% of the total. And then we saw a massive boom. So these are still quite demanding cases to open due to the price, I'm assuming. And that will kind of lead on to the price increases of the case to match up with the other rare drops or discontinued, because once the supply goes down significantly or people there won't be I I'm assuming they won't be opening at this rate. What now the price now these are discontinued and people start storing these. Um though we have lost, and we may also be losing another the portion of the market in the EU at the end of this year or the beginning of 2026, so we can also see a decrease from that perspective. It's a good case. Pinch stream's always a good red. You get knives, fracture special knives. So I also realize it also shows you the percentage of potential wears. The paracord is not a knife knife, so I'm not too infatuated by this, but the skeleton knife is really cool. Very popular knife, so not a bad case to have in your bank. Also, with these as these prices go up, you will also see the increase in the price of the case, just to kind of maintain the same average return potential, due to the price of the case increasing and the skin and vice versa. So that's the fracture case for you. These actually all been below $1, so I will be at £1, $1. I will be doing a little roundup of cases that I would purchase under £1, and then maybe like a £2 mark, and then £3, and seeing like making a diversified portfolio in between, and just showing you how I would go about it. But that's preference, I guess, to an extent, or my judgment. Leading on, the next one is a clutch. The clutch has been out for a while, which is interesting. Like 531,000 open last month, confirmed rare, came out in 2018. Same as the other markets, the retractment, $153 to $1.09. Grand scheme of time, this is actually broken its new high, which is cool. In a year, it's gone up by 126% from it. It's almost doubled. I think that was the general kind of consensus about the case market, so nothing crazy. 60% over the span of 6 months, though the unboxing numbers has decreased significantly. significantly from 16 all the way down to around 2%. It's only around 1.4, 1.2% of the total supply. Not very promising, can depreciate or like once they become obsolete, well, time to become obsolete would take a long time. So I would definitely maybe worthwhile holding these because they've been up for so long and total supply is probably depleting at a significant rate. So they consist of gloves. Gloves are cool. Gloves are cool, and you can get factory new, I believe. 0.6 is factory new, so you know there's always a chance to get the same. So comparably, I would keep these in. I do like those bronze morph. It's weird. They almost like Mortal Kombat gloves. I would keep into account like the relationship with well, just the prices of gloves, and hopefully this case also grows with the price of gloves and the competing cases, which offer the same product. But we'll see. But this is a sleeper, I think. The Falchion. Falchion has been out for a while. It's not a bad case. It has, well, I guess the knives aren't the greatest, but he has the Aquamarine, which is a play skin, which is quite demanded, and the Orb Hyper Beast. The Falcon knives are pretty cool, but this case is, looking at Seer Stonks, this case is lowest time to extinction. So how long it would take for this case to be obsolete if it's kind of unboxed at the rate it is, or unboxed in general, is 28 months. That's 2 years. In the span of 2 years, though these knives aren't that demanded, some of the other items within it, and as we know, once stocks go down, prices go up with certain items. So I'm looking at this with a BDI because I think this might be a sleeper where people have kind of undermined. Um, Also, you can see the Revolution case here, 54, 55 months. Even though this is actively dropped, it just shows how the level of like amount of people opening incomparable to the amount of supply. So once this does enter, I could imagine this to overtake the Operation Phoenix, maybe even like competing with the Falcon and Chroma in the sense that time to extinction may be a lot faster than those cases. Just due to the price that these are already 545. People don't really want to open a case at 545. I say people, I'm speaking for myself, but like 545 is quite expensive to open a case and get a 8 cent skin or 8p skin. So for me, the Revolution case is almost like a no-brainer in my head. Like 50p, you can see the same with the snakebite though. This has a fourfold in the lowest time to extinction, and it's already higher. So I'm be looking at the I'll be looking at the Revolution case. But lastly, just looking at this actively dropped Dreams and Nightmares case. I really like this. I really like this case. Apart from well, I guess I really like it because it's got bloody butter knives. But butterfly knives. But this is a sleeper case too. You can see the retracement with a lot double topped. So you can see it stopped at 250, and then people were like, "Oh, it's a bit pricey." The unboxing numbers are crazy. It's actively dropped, but only but not by much. This is very close to the Revolution case, so with the potential to get a butterfly, these are also I would deem to be a very good investment. I would see it to be removed in the next 1 to 2 years, maybe even sooner, depending how the legislation gets passed and how it impacts the market. But like, I believe like Valve might be looking to push new items to bypass this and make it not look like loot boxes, but offer somewhat rewarding items. I'm not a big fan of the Genesis terminal cases, but you know, that is what it is. So yeah, hopefully on the next episode, it's a bit tough, but I will be doing a little £10 buy of like a diversified portfolio and track it every week or like monthly and just make new trades every so often. So if you don't mind, guys, please like and subscribe, and hopefully that should be the new video in which I'll be starting. Many thanks. Bye bye.